What's up, guys? So, the International Women's Day is upon us. And throughout the years, I have seen so many absolutely amazing lead female characters that I thought to myself, hey, why don't I make a small tribute selecting my top 9 female lead characters? Now, bear in mind, even though this is a numbered list, they are all absolutely amazing. So grab your favorite drinks, kick back, and let's have some fun. Number 9. Faith Counters, Mirror's Edge. Back in the PlayStation 3 era, Mirror's Edge was one of my favorite games. Really, it was quite unique for the time it was released. It was the first-person game that actually made me feel like I was in full control of a real person. Faith was fast, powerful, knew how to parkour, and also knew many combat techniques. Most of the times, the odds would be stacked against her, but still, you'd always feel like you were someone capable, like you were someone who could deal with those situations no matter how dire they were. And this goes to show that even though sometimes we may play characters in video games that will speak very little, you know, if all of the other aspects, all of the other correct aspects are on point, then yes, we can and most likely will connect to them. And not only that, we'll also remember them. Number 8. Lara Croft, the Underworld era. With the release of Tomb Raider Legends, which single-handedly brought the series back to life, we saw a new type of Lara Croft. It was right then that Lara Croft became a perfect blend between James Bond and Indiana Jones. She was this highly trained and highly armed and very rich and resourceful Tomb Raider explorer. The game then onwards always make it very clear that Lara knew what she was doing. Now, mind you, I'm not saying she was godlike or that she was invincible, no. However, her vast expertise always made her adapt very quickly to the situations. She was a badass, she was amazing. And the reason why I went with Tomb Raider Underworld and not Legends is because in Underworld, I think it was the apex of Lara Croft's character, the classic character as we all knew and loved.
And I need the hammer to kill a god.
Number 7. Helena Harper, Resident Evil 6. Now this may come as a surprise to many of you since Resident Evil 6 is by far one of the least popular Resident Evil games. And while certainly I can understand a lot of the criticism it's gotten, I wholeheartedly disagree with the concept that Resident Evil 6 is a bad game in itself. Each campaign was written with a very different feel to it in mind, and if you stop to think about it, every campaign makes sense. From Chris and Pierce's militarized campaign to Jake and Sherry's wild survival escape, it was all very concise. Really, those were situations in which I would clearly imagine each and every one of those characters involving themselves with. And among all of Resident Evil 6's extremely likable characters is Helena Harper. Lied to and manipulated by Simmons in a plot to murder the President of the United States. Her willpower to save her sister and set things right was unyielding. However, all of that willpower never made Helena a character incapable of displaying emotions. Throughout the campaign, Helena displays a series of very convincing emotions, such as anger, despair, hatred, relief, and vindication. And although most of Leon's campaign's elements surround him, not Helena, she was the one who made a real impact on me, not Leon. Number 6. A2. Nier Automata. She was the prototype model which would later be used to create the more advanced 2B and 9S models. A2 is initially depicted as mysterious and somber, but as she begins interacting with other characters, the player will eventually see that A2 is actually quite aggressive. She has a propensity towards reckless behavior. She often engages in combat without any prior threat assessment, strategy, or regard for her own personal safety. If you pay attention, you see that she's borderline self-destructive. And this stems from trauma and guilt. Prior to the events of the game, A2 was a secret Yorha operative taking part in a project on Earth called the Pearl Harbor Descent. The purpose of this operation was to monitor and research how experimental Yorha units would behave during battle. This information would then be studied and integrated into newer models to improve the quality of production. Originally, there were 16 Yorha units who took part in this operation, but only 4 managed to land in one piece, A2 being one of them. Since the original squad captain was destroyed during the descent, A2 took command of the Yorha squadron once operations began. Unexperienced at the time, she ended up issuing many questionable orders during her initial time ahead of the group. Eventually, she forms a functional relationship with resistant forces and manages to destroy a major machine server, which helps Yorha gain the upper hand during the war. Despite her success, the toll her comrades' deaths took on her was too big. She ends up abandoning her post right after the mission, and is immediately marked as a deserter, to be hunted down by the next generation Type E model, 2B. Seeing all of her feelings of anger, guilt, and vengeance was quite interesting. Number 5. Lightning, or Claire Ferrum, Final Fantasy XIII. The first Final Fantasy XIII game was highly controversial due to some aspects which, quite frankly, I won't discuss here. And then there's the issue of Lightning. A lot of people dismissed her as a bland character, a bland emotional character. However, what those people never really seemed to grasp was that there's a big difference between a bland and a stoic character. Lightning was an extremely focused character, always considering every possible scenario, always thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead of everyone else. And also, there are many instances in the game where she does end up displaying her emotions. Try as she might to hold everything in, there are quite a few instances where her emotions surface. And also, even when her emotions are not completely obvious, they're not outbursts or things of the sort, we're always given these micro displays of emotion which are completely coherent with the way this character was written.
It's over!
Number 4. Aloy, Horizon Zero Dawn. Raised in the wilderness as an outcast by Rost, a sort of adopted father if you will, Aloy was a free spirit. One day, as she was picking berries in the forest, she met other children. After they became hostile towards her for being an outcast, Aloy ran away. Only to accidentally fall a hole of a forbidden ruin. There, she discovers a small arrow-shaped device that displayed real-time information and also played back recordings through holograms. As she grows up, she comes to meet and interact with several people from 3 different tribes, the Nora, the Karja, and the Oseram. What made Aloy such an interesting character to me was her personality, the way she interacted and reacted to others around her. It's very easy to take this type of character and end up with a total and forgettable cliché. However, thanks to this game's amazing script and Ashley Burst's brilliant voice acting, what we see here is a fully believable and human character, as she discovers new things, people, and threats. And all while staying true to her upbringing and personality. Not once does Aloy fall out of character for some sort of cheap and poorly written moment through this brilliant game. She's definitely a character to be remembered. Number 3. Ivor, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. With a tragic past where both her parents were murdered when she was only 8 years of age, Ivor grows up sworn in vengeance against her parents' killer, and she eventually gets it. However, that's only the beginning of the game. Soon after that, she and her brother, Sigurd, set out to conquer New England. In a way, this is where the game really begins. Initially following her brother's orders, Ivor sets out to forge new alliances within this new land, and of course, not all will go according to plan. However, what really makes Ivor shine to me is the consistency and strength with which her character was written and voice acted. It would have been really easy to take the one-dimensional character approach and make one bland and forgettable character. However, we see so many different aspects of Ivor as she interacts with the world, be it on raids, diplomatic meetings, conflict diffusal or escalating, drinking contests, love affairs, friendships formed, deceit, laughter, doubt, and so much more, that I really felt like I was playing as a multi-layered, strong person. She's definitely one character I will never forget. Number 2. The Boss. Metal Gear Solid 3. Snake Eater. Ah yes, the Boss. The mentor of John, otherwise known as Big Boss. The number of hard decisions this woman has had to make in her life during her years as an operative will make your head spin. And what I like the most about her character is that she never slips. No matter how bad things get, she's learned how to never break character. Yes, a character who's created a character for herself. That's some good writing for you. Not only out of necessity so her mission doesn't get jeopardized, but also due to experience. During her run-ins with Snake, she always hands him his ass in one way or another, even when she's trying to warn him. And not once does this feel cheap or far-fetched. From the get-go, you know this woman is highly lethal and intelligent. The decisions she has to make, hard ones. The sacrifices she also has to make. Even being unable to disclose her feelings and thoughts or emotions to her most dear pupil only serve as a big and beautiful testament to the great character the Boss was, to how loyal she was until the very end. Number 1. Samus Aran, the Metroid series. So here we are, much to no one's surprise, at my favorite female lead of all time. Samus Aran is a space bounty hunter who takes crap from no one, and no matter how professional she is at following orders, she'll never disregard her own morals. She's not some intergalactic goon, a cheap gun for hire. She's a space Solid Snake, for crying out loud, you know, minus the rapid aging, fox die, and tuberculosis. The Metroid series is one of my favorite series in the world. With each new game, we saw Samus heading to different planets, facing different threats, losing her previous power armor as soon as someone as much sneezed on her, just so she had to do the whole 9 yards again. And hey, I'm not complaining. I like progressively powering up with each new game. I'm always looking forward to the next Metroid game, and on a side note, I hope Nintendo gets off its lazy ass and makes more Metroid games for us. It may have never been their top-selling franchise, but it sure as hell has a gauntlet of hungry fans out there, myself included. So that's it for today, guys. I really hope you enjoy this small tribute I put out to all the women out there. This top 9 favorite lead characters. I chose the characters that throughout the years resonated with me, with my heart the most. They're all absolutely amazing, each in their own way. And if you haven't already, please remember to hit the like button, share, comment, and even subscribe to this channel. Your support helps us a lot. And if you really want to go the extra mile in supporting us, please consider checking out my Patreon page and a few other links that I'll leave in the description. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Later.